in the bustling city center of Salvador, Brazil, where the streets throbbed with samba rhythms and the air smelled of roasted corn and sweet piota queijo, lived a young man named Cassio. At first glance, Cassio seemed like any other street performer, charming, good-looking, and always surrounded by a small crowd. But behind his enchanting smile lay something far darker. He was a sorcerer who thrived on deception. Cassio was no ordinary magician with sleight of hand or cheap tricks. No, he practiced an art rooted in forbiddance, witchcraft. With a simple snap of his fingers, he could ignite a flame on a passer-by's hat or set an entire fruit stand ablaze without even blinking. From a worn-out leather bag slung across his shoulder, he could summon flocks of ravens and doves, making them swoop and scatter at his command. People gasped in awe. They threw coins, jewelry, and sometimes even bills into his bag. Mothers gave up their gold earrings, merchants parted with their bracelets, and young lovers handed over treasured rings, all in exchange for a chance to touch his sacred bag or receive a blessing from his fire-tipped finger. Cassio grew wealthy in the city center. Every day he stood by Avenida Luzia, deceiving the innocent with his dark powers, his voice smooth and convincing. Give, and the spirits will bless you. Refuse, and they will curse your fortune. But one evening, when the golden sun was sinking into the horizon and the streets had begun to quiet, Cassio's steps carried him into a forgotten alley where the lamps burned dimmer than the rest. At the very end of that alley stood a small wooden door painted with peeling blue streaks. It belonged to an elderly woman named Donna Yar, a woman the townsfolk whispered about. She was no ordinary grandmother. Some called her a curandera, a healer of deep knowledge. Others murmured she was a guardian against dark arts. Few dared to go near her house. But Cassio, blinded by pride and arrogance, knocked boldly on her door. The door creaked open, and there she stood, small, hunched, with eyes that glowed like embers hidden beneath ashes. Her silver hair was tied with a strip of faded cloth, and in her hand she held a wooden rosary, worn smooth by years of prayer. Boa noite, menino, she greeted, her voice calm yet sharp. What brings you to my door? Cassio smirked, raising his finger. A spark of fire leapt into the air. I bring wonder. Perhaps you'd like a show. But Donna Yara did not flinch. Her gaze pierced through him. No, Cassio, you bring lies. You have fooled the innocent, but you cannot fool me. The young man stiffened, his grin faltering. For the first time, someone had called him by name without being told. You have stolen from the poor, deceived the kind, and sold false miracles, she continued. But tonight, the spirits you play with will no longer protect you, Cassio sneered, trying to regain his arrogance. He opened his bag, whistling sharply. From it burst a storm of black birds, their wings flapping furiously, darkening the alley. But before they could descend, Donna Yara raised her rosary and whispered in a tongue older than the city itself. The birds froze midair, their wings stiff, and then like shadows dissolving at sunrise, they vanished into nothing. Cassio staggered back, panic flashed across his face. He pointed his finger at her door, summoning fire, but as he flicked, no flame appeared. Instead, his hand trembled violently, his fingertip burning as if dipped in hot coal. Your power is not yours, the old woman said firmly. It was borrowed from restless spirits who thrive on fear. And now they are leaving you, one by one, the whispers that had always circled Cassio, the unseen voices that had guided his tricks went silent. His leather bag sagged empty, heavy as stone, but filled with nothing. The young man fell to his knees, sweat dripping down his face. "No, please," he begged, but Donna Yara only shook her head. "You used gifts meant for harm, not healing. The city will see you for what you truly are, a thief with empty hands." And so it happened. By dawn, the people who once admired Cassio gathered around him. When he tried to summon his fire, nothing came. When he tried to call forth birds, only dust blew from his bag. The crowd laughed and mocked him. Some demanded the return of their valuables, others spat at his feet. Shamed and powerless, Cassio fled the city center, vanishing into the outskirts, never to return. As for Donna Yara, she continued her quiet life, her door ever watching, her wisdom a shield against deceit. And in Salvador's bustling streets, her story lived on. Beware the magic that dazzles the eyes, but rots the soul, for only truth can burn brighter than false fire.